All right, the time has come to test whether Netflix is accessible or not. Prepare to be amazed. Okay, so at first we're gonna start to see if it has any visible focus. So I have my on-screen keyboard and I'm gonna be pressing the keys so you know which key I press. So let's start with tabbing. Let me select the body of the website. Okay, so I guess Netflix itself, the logo is not a link, so it doesn't have to be a focus. That's good. The sign in button is focused. I can see that. Okay, so there's barely any focus ring around the input field. However, I can see the vertical bar that shows that the field is focused, so that satisfies the WCAG focus visible criteria for input fields, so that's good. And let's go tab again. Okay, this is where we get into a bit of a pickle, because I believe I have focused the what is Netflix accordion, but I don't see a focus ring. So that's what I assume I have focused, so I'm gonna try to expand it using the enter key. Yes, I have focused the accordion, but there is no focus ring. And this is really bad, because if I was a sighted user browsing the website with my keyboard, and for whatever reason, let's say I have carpal tunnel, I have a cerebral palsy, I was unable to use my hand as much as I want to, or as freely as you would need to use a mouse. Then if I was browsing the site, I wouldn't be able to see which element I have focused now. That's why the focus ring is so important. And Netflix has screwed up here. So this is an interactive element. Interactive elements are buttons, links, input controls, just any element you can interact with, and they need a focus ring so that I know when they're selected if I want to interact with them. And now let me go through all of these accordions. Yeah, I think I'm focusing all of them, but I don't see a focus ring, so that's really bad. We're back on the email address. They have a good focus. The questions, that's a link. Okay, the rest of the elements have a good focus, but they still fail the WCAG success criteria focus visible because the accordions have no focus. So let's go back at the top of the, actually, no, we can stay here at the bottom of the page since we're already here. Now let's talk links. I don't like these links because they don't look like links. And you might find it funny, but it's actually WCAG success criteria that links must be distinguishable by something else other than color. So you need either for them to be underlined, they need a chevron, or if you don't want to add any sort of underline or chevron, you need to make them a different color and lightness, or different color, lightness, and you need to add a different another differentiator. And the most common one is to make them strong, not to make the links strong themselves, to make them bold using the CSS property strong. So the problem is these links here, they look exactly like this text here called questions. So I don't know if they're links or not. They have sufficient contrast, but this will fail the success criteria. So what they need to do is just underline them. See, you can unsee when I'm hovering them, I can see them underlined, but this is a failure of the success criteria, and it doesn't help me make sure that it doesn't help me differentiate them from the text above. Same for the phone number. It's a link. It's a phone link, but still a link. It doesn't have an underline. So those links fail. I don't like them. Even though they have sufficient contrast, they're not differentiated enough. This drop down, let me try to interact with it. Enter, space. Okay, this drop down is fine. Let me see if I can escape it with the escape key. Okay. Oh, I don't know what happened. Oh, okay. So, okay, that is bad. So I changed, so this one, let me see. Okay, so when you press on one, it changes. I don't specifically like that. There's a WCAG success criteria for websites being, let me go down the page, predictable. So when you click on the language, it automatically redirects. However, I'm willing to give it a bit more of a leeway here because it is a pattern that is very often used. Languages are chosen with the drop down. Usually when you click on them, the whole page redirects. But I would add some sort of text warning the user and I don't think that's correct, because I'm going to select it again, enter. So let's say that I am on the second one. Okay, and I don't do anything. I've just selected it. Let's say I have selected Espanol, and now I have changed my mind and I want to keep it in English. And I just want to close my drop down. Okay, it redirects me. That is a violation of WCAG guideline predictable. So this website is not predictable. This fails it. I don't like that. Yep, that's another failure. Escape should just close it, not redirect me to another language. Even if I had selected it, even if I have focused it, I have not yet made a selection. Okay, so let's talk about this drop down menu here. Don't particularly like this. Well, see, the thing is, it has a floating label, and web accessibility specialists are kind of divided on floating labels. Some like them, some don't. I don't. I think they are confusing and it's difficult to have sufficient contrast. I don't think this label has a sufficient contrast, and I just don't like placeholders, and the way the label is right now, it just looks like a placeholder even though it's technically a label. However, so it doesn't violate the WCAG because it technically has a label, but where it violates the WCAG is that it has this input has two labels, and you're only supposed to have one label per an input. So this will make screen readers confused, and screen readers might not announce the label email address because they're using two and you're only supposed to use one. Remember, one label for one input, not one label for the whole form, because that would just be ludicrous. Okay, so I don't like that. Yeah, it violates success criteria for robust websites because the code here is not HTML compliant or conformant. All right, a get started button, I think I can complain. I think it's okay. I think it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so we know what's wrong with these accordions. Now, they don't have any focus. Let me see if they have any states. So this accordion opens with this div. First of all, the accordions are using the wrong markup. Accordions should be coded using the name of the accordion as a heading, and the heading should be a heading, and the pattern of the heading should be a button, okay? Because these are actually, this is supposed to be a heading and this is supposed to be a paragraph. It doesn't matter if you put them in a different one. Some people like to put them in sections even, but I think sections is a little bit, over the top. So this should be a heading, and I don't think this is it. It's just a button, and it looks like, yeah, this button, is that the button I'm selected? Yes. Whenever I open and close the button, it doesn't have an area expanded. Now this is really bad because when screen readers focus this accordion and users activate it, you want the screen readers to say if it's expanded or not, and that's not the case here. So that's another fail. Okay, let me scroll up, and I can see that they have sort of like a video here being played. However, I can't see any mechanism to pause it. So what that's going to do, it's gonna hurt people with ADHD or have cognitive disabilities, because it's gonna make them difficult to concentrate it on the text over here. So, and especially if this contains flashes, it's gonna be even worse for people with epilepsy, okay, photosensitive epilepsy. So that violates the WCAG pause, hide, and stop success criteria. It's really bad. They should make it stop. Like, it's okay to autoplay as long as you have a pause button. You're also supposed to not autoplay if user prefers slow motion settings on their operating system. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to test it out. I'm going to open up my animation settings on my Windows. So I'm going to say, what was it? Motion. Okay, show animations in Windows, and I'm going to disable it. Okay, and I'm going to refresh my page. Okay, Netflix doesn't respect the user settings for slow motion, and slow motion for your OS is important because with vertical or any other vestibular disorder, animations and flashes can make you have an attack, a vertical attack, or if you have severe migraines. So that's why some people disable the animations in Windows, and you have an option when you're creating a website to respect these settings and not autoplay media. But apparently Netflix doesn't have that option. Okay, so this is also autoplaying, no pause button, same. I like the contrast, but this also fails the success criterion. I don't know what's up with Netflix having autoplayed stuff. Let me see if this image has an alt. Nope, it has a no alt. So when users use screen readers, the screen reader is not going to announce what this image is about, so they're going to miss out on it. Great. It's not great. That was sarcasm. Okay. Another thing I don't like with this website is because it's dark, it has a black background, white text. 30 to 60% of the population in Europe and Asia suffer from astigmatism, which is a condition where you don't see very well, okay? So you need glasses. And users with astigmatism can react badly, and the screen can look blurry if the background is black and the text is white. But if the text is black and the background is white, it doesn't bother them. However, if roughly 50% of the population, because those are some numbers I read, if 50% of the population have astigmatism, that means if you create a website that has black background, it's gonna be bad for those people. And I don't see an option anywhere here in Netflix to turn off dark mode. And this is extremely bad because you're basically hurting a huge chunk of the human population just by choosing to have a black background. So they need to add an option at the top of the website where people can change it, or they need to ditch the black background because it's not accessible. Another thing I don't like is this text on images, because even though they made the background darker, the issue is that you can't really control these images, okay? So they can be, one image will pop up. See, this movie, the Pets movie, it has a white background. And this text is also white. Even though they have darkened it, if the text was not big enough, it will be difficult to read. So I always am against text on images. If you must add text on images, make a solid background for the text. It's going to be much easier. Okay, so I have turned on high contrast mode, Windows high contrast mode, and I thought it would be fun if we test Netflix for high contrast mode. It looks good. This is still the home page. Yeah, so the links look like links. See how easier it is to spot the links when they have sufficient differentiator from the other text. You can clearly see this is the text and this is the text. Excuse me, this is the text and these are the links. Okay, looks good. Now let's press actually let me go with the keyboard and press the sign in. Their sign in is not good on high contrast mode because the sign in page, I cannot see where the boxes are to input my text. I think they're supposed to be somewhere here, but I'm not sure. So they fail high contrast mode. Let me try to tap to them. Okay, that's weird. Why am I selecting the logo twice? That's not so good. Like, it's not that big a deal, it's just annoying. Okay, so you can only see the outline of your boxes if you select. Now, actually, you can only see an outline if you select the email. If I select the password, there's still no outline. So I don't know if I start typing where my text is gonna go. Okay, that's not good. There's no outline at the button, sign in. Okay, I don't like that. And looks like this is a link. See how this link looks exactly like this text? And okay, the link, so in high contrast mode, the links are always yellow if you're using the black theme for it. And it looks like this link is not yellow. That means they're not using the link element. Yes, they're using a button. Okay, maybe it's not a link. Maybe it's a button. Let me click on it. Okay, my bad. That's actually correct because it's not a link, it's a button. Okay, but why was it underlined when I pressed it? And why does the button not look like a button? Why does it look like a link? Yes, that's still a violation of the WCAG. This website is not predictable. Okay, don't like. Now let's go into the meat and potatoes of Netflix, which is the page where you actually watch the movies. All right, so this is the main page, and we still see that this autoplays. And I'm pretty sure I have animations off. So yeah, Netflix is not respecting user options. So I cannot pause this playing movie or whatever. I can mute it. It's still in violation of the WCAG success criteria, pause, hide, and stop, because I can't pause. It's gonna play for eternity until I scroll down. That's not accessible. Let me try tabbing. Start tabbing again. Let me select the body. Start tabbing. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna press Shift plus Tab. So where it says my list, sorry, it's in Dutch. Just pretend it's English if you're English speaker. So when I select my list and I press Tab, I have selected the search. However, the search is not outlined. The only thing that's happening in the search is just becoming more bold. So that's in violation of the success criteria focus visible. I don't like that. Oh, looks like Netflix gave up. Okay, so I'm going to keep selecting kids DVD. Okay, the bell has no focus visible. Okay, the options have focus visible. That's good. And I'm gonna press Shift plus Tab, and my focus has disappeared. Focus order is not a thing again. I guess they're violating the focus order, so my focus has disappeared. I don't know what I am. Okay, more information. Focus disappeared again. I don't know where my focus is. I think I'm selecting those movies. I'm not sure. There is absolutely no focus if I select every movie. This is so bad. If that basically makes it so difficult to select movies or to operate this website if you're using the keyboard. This is a very basic WCAG rule. Very basic. Netflix, come on. Oh, so funny. So I showed up this website on an account I don't use because I didn't want you guys to see that I watch Grey's Anatomy. But then on this account, Netflix put it just in front of my eyes. So yeah, I hope they don't put Gossip Girl or Glee, because that would be really embarrassing, because I never watched those shows. No, I don't know them by heart and I haven't watched them like 50 times. Nope, not me. I only watch intellect stuff. All right, let's go. Okay, let me press Shift plus Tab. Okay, so this means CO, but it's like it shows up with your keyboard, but it doesn't outline. Let me see if they have an out. Let me say Grey's Anatomy. So Grey's Anatomy is an image link, okay? So let me see if the image link has a note or it has an area label. So they have hidden the image. Okay, there's a note. Grey's Anatomy. Okay, Grey's Anatomy. The title is redundant, but it has a note. Okay, it's not as bad as it could have been. So screen readers will be able to announce them. It's interesting because these are more, I guess they're more user-friendly for screen readers, but I haven't tested with screen readers, so I can't really tell. So I'm gonna gonna keep pressing tab until I reach the bottom of the site. Those icons, I guess they're okay. Let me see if they have area labels. Nope. Oh wait, maybe they have hidden visible links. Nope, they don't have area labels. And they also open in a new window. And they have no icon or no text that tells you that these links open in a new window. I also didn't see any labeling. That means if I navigate in the website with the screen reader, the screen is not going to tell me where those links are going to lead me. Am I going to go to Facebook? Am I going to go to NASA's website? I have no idea if I'm using a screen reader. Same problem we have with the links as in the homepage. They don't look like links. Okay, let's keep tabbing. At least the focus order is good. I guess it could be worse. There is also service code. Let me press Shift plus service code. Is that a button? It looks like a button. I'm gonna press it. Oops, nope, I pressed down nav. Okay, service code. Let's go enter. Okay, I guess it shows up, so I can forgive that. I think that's pretty much it. Is Netflix accessible? Not really. I don't like how they don't have a focus, and I don't like my main complaints are lack of visible focus, lack of focus order. My focus just disappears. These videos keep playing all the time in the homepage when I am in my whatever this is called, like the inside of Netflix. That just sounds wrong. When I'm inside Netflix, they have playing stuff all the time. Also, another thing I don't like, it's playing automatically when I hover over with my mouse. And if I try to stop making it play by pressing escape, I can't. There's no way for me to pause it. There's no way for me to, or I can mute it, but I can't pause it, okay? And another big gripe I have with Netflix is that it doesn't respect user settings. It's very easy to respect user settings, especially now with CSS and with JavaScript. If I don't want animation and moving stuff, make sure that's respected, because otherwise you end up hurting your users, okay? A lot of people have vestibular disorders, like vertigo, a lot of them. So that makes me mad. And so that's, I mean, this is not like a comprehensive audit. It's just, I see a lot of wrong things. Like links don't look like links. I think their labels are kind of weird. Let me try to see okay, so let's see the search box. Damn, I can't select the search box to see if it even has an area label. Okay, I'm not gonna judge the search box because I can't really see if it has an area label or not, but it doesn't have a label, that's for sure, and it didn't have a focus visible. Let me try to search some stuff. Okay, let me try to activate it with my keyboard and try to search some stuff. Enter, and I'm gonna say, I don't know what movie to search for. Let's search for Barbarian. Okay, so you can see that it is shown, but so the results are shown, which is good. Not really sure about this, how the contrast is here. However, it looks like it's okay. Let me try to see if I can. Okay, if I want to remove this selection, and if I want to reach X, which I think is the reset button, I can reach it with my keyboard. See, trying to reach X, I can't do that, so that's bad too. Yeah, Netflix needs work to make their websites accessible. Let me play a movie and see if I can make if I can have these accessible with the keyboard. So I'm pressing tab. Okay, so I have expanded the subtitles. I'm going to try to dismiss it with escape key. Okay, that's in violation of success criterion of the WCAG on hover, content on hover. When you expand something with your mouse or with enter, even if you expand something with enter, you want to be able to dismiss it with the escape key, because if someone is using a screen magnifier, it's going to be very difficult for them to make the thing disappear, okay, unless they can do it with the escape key. And I can make it escape with the escape. I can dismiss it with the escape key, so that's in violation. Success criterion 1.4.13, content on hover or focus, says that every time you have content that appears on hover or focus, it must be dismissible. So this is more often used via the escape key, and it is also in the WCAG that they recommend to use the escape key. In this case, the caption menu or the menu in question appears when the icon is hovered. That means that it must be dismissible with the escape key. However, in this case, it failed the test. So every time you have content that appears on focus or on hover, it must be dismissible with the escape key. But if you activate the content yourself, for example, if there's a button that shows additional content activated with enter or spacebar, then it does not have to be dismissible with the escape key. It's still good practice, it is still good user experience, and I recommend that you do that. But if you activate it yourself with the keyboard, then you don't have to conform to success criteria 1.4.13, only if it's on hover and focus. Okay, so I can traverse those with my keyboard, so that's good. Okay, so they disappear if I open another one, but I can make them disappear if I don't open another option. Okay, I can fast forward with my left and right arrow keys, so that's good. And what about, let me try to skip the intro. Okay, I can skip the intro, that's good. Let me try it, press enter. Okay, so I think most of these controls are good. The only thing is I want to be able to escape with this, I want to be able to dismiss the controls with the escape key if I have expanded them, and I can't do that, right? Like I'm trying to press the escape key and I can't do that. Okay, now let's collapse this screen. Press escape to exit full screen. Okay, that's interesting. Why can I exit it with this button? Let me try to exit with my mouse. I don't understand what this button is for if you can't make this small. Okay, so if this is not announced by screen readers, then it's gonna be difficult for them to escape. So let's press escape. Okay, or F11. Well, would you look? Okay, F11. Okay, I have escape full screen, and then I guess you press the arrow. Okay, the UI is kind of confusing for keyboard. I don't like that for keyboard users. Okay. Oh my god, I'm so sick of this movie playing. Okay, I'm gonna try to do one last browse with my keyboard. It's not very accessible. I don't like it. They have neglected some basic WCAG success criteria. So that's pretty much it. Netflix, you have to do better still. So make sure you subscribe and comment down below, and have a great day, everybody.